Hey, what's up guys? In this video, I'm going to be showing you the long-term optimizations that we make for clients to guarantee that their results improve in terms of return on ad spend, their deal flow, overall profitability in their company. And I'm going to show you why this is so impactful on the way we do this here and how it can make a huge difference in your marketing efforts in your business. So if you're new to the channel, just quick, my name is Joshua Dayrit. I'm the owner of Ignite PPC. We scale investors to 6 figures per month, every single month with our inbound marketing. We've scaled investors to 100K, 250K, even 500K per month using PPC, YouTube ads, demand gen, and performance max ads all across the country. So let's dive straight in here. First and foremost, we're going to talk with our foundational piece, which is here, right? Now, our foundation starts with the conversion tracking. What we do is we build a simultaneous integration between our client CRM, what we like to call the source of truth, and then ultimately Google Ads. All right. So we build this direct pipeline between the client CRM, their Google Ads account that we're managing, to push offline conversions back and forth between the CRM and the ad account. So the things that we're tracking in this setup here is we have gross leads, which are just like form fills and calls that come in. Sales qualified leads is basically sales vetted leads and confirmed opportunities that you've identified as qualified, contracts, and closed deals. Okay. So if we go back here to the source of truth, AKA the CRM, what happens is that you work your leads. Some of them are going to become qualified, some become contracts, so on and so on. As this happens, we send this data back to Google. All right. And as Google takes this data, it's going to go out and look for more people who fit that criteria, generate more leads, and those leads are going to go back to CRM. And the leads are going to go through the scoring process again. And based on what happens with the leads, it's going to get sent back to Google. All right. The reason why this is important is because it creates pure visibility across the entire business and the campaign. So we know what locations are working. Every campaign, and this is also on a campaign basis. So what campaigns are working, which locations that you're marketing to are working best for you, what keywords are working best for you, the ad copy, the audiences, devices, days and time. Basically, we're able to take every piece of data that we want in terms of knowing what's working, what's not, from your CRM, put it back into Google Ads and allow us to make decisions based on that, right? So this is based on our foundational setup, which is just the tracking, the integration between your CRM and the Google Ads account we're managing for you. Phase 2 is ongoing optimization. All right, so our primary KPI that we're looking for, just as like a first indicator of success for a campaign, is cost per qualified lead, right? So which campaigns are generating the cheapest cost per qualified leads, which locations are generating the cheapest cost per qualified leads, which keywords are actually driving those sales qualified leads over just gross leads. And so this is the first thing we're looking at, right? Next, we have cost per contract, cost per deal. And same thing here. We're looking at, hey, which keywords, which ad groups, which locations are producing the contracts. Same thing with closed deals, right? So the first one we look at is going to be cost per qualified lead. But the two that really matter ultimately are going to be cost per contract and really cost per deal. That's the ultimate KPI, right? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much a lead costs. It doesn't even matter how much a contract costs. The only thing that matters is how much a deal costs and what you're paying for it, right? So ROI by campaign in terms of locations, keywords, ad groups, days, devices, audiences, so on, okay? And as we gather this data, as we do it for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, what's going to happen is that we are focused on what we would say cutting the fat, right? So when you run any form of marketing, whether it be Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, YouTube, even with direct mail, right? What's going to happen is that you're going to run your marketing campaigns. Some things are going to work better than others. And your job is to continue to do the same thing, but cut the fat out, right? Because if you cut the fat out, you're only left with producing assets, okay? So we identify areas spending money without that aren't producing results at an acceptable cost. Then we kill those areas of the campaigns and we reallocate those dollars to what is working, right? So for example, here, campaign A looks like, hey, this is working really well. Campaign B, it's got a higher CPA, cost per acquisition, and we're going to kill that. So you can see that it didn't move over here. Campaign C, hey, it's going really well. It moved over. Keyword set D, location E, hey, they didn't work well, so bam, they didn't go over there, right? So 100% of spend is going to revenue producing assets at this point. And this is what it looks like real time. So 3 months where, hey, initial fat is identified, kind of get some baseline optimizations made. Second round of cuts, we have more data, and we're being, again, very specific about what we're killing, what we're keeping, and this leads to, over time, cost per acquisitions dropping, fully optimized marketing campaigns for businesses. And it doesn't necessarily take 12 months to do this, but the more data that we have in your ad account, the better. We've spent definitely over $20 million on ad spend at this point. So from day one, we're already starting with what we know works the best, right? Like our best possible strategy from day one. However, there's always going to be fat in every ad account that we can always reduce to force the ad dollars to go back to what's actually working, right? So the end result, again, every ad dollar is pointed at the correct campaigns, keywords, locations, and ads that are proven to generate revenue. Proven, hard data and proof that says these will give me more money if I put more data in. All right. So this way you have no more wasted spend. There's no guessing. It's just a continuously refined engine that gets better, which leads to a lower cost per acquisition, a higher deal volume, and maximize return on ad spend. All right. So this is pretty much our long-term strategy for our clients. If you're running your own PPC or you're running any other form of marketing, I highly recommend you do this. One of the big things here that I would say is like a mistake, and I'll talk about like what not to do, is let's say you launch a PPC campaign on January 1st, right? And January 1st, you guys go through, let's say until February 1st, right? And then all of a sudden, February 1st comes and you have 2 bad weeks, right? Or maybe you have a bad month. What I see typically happen is that teams will go and create new campaigns or try to do new strategies to fix the bad marketing, right? And the issue with doing that is that when your marketing isn't working, when you launch new strategies, you're basically putting new variables into the ad account and new variables into your business, right? What's important is to take a baseline and make sure that you never change that baseline and you're always cutting the fat that isn't working. So that way we can make sure that the dollars are actually going to what is producing revenue for you. This is why it's so important that you track this stuff, is because if you are going to be launching new strategies every 60 days, 90 days, trying new campaign types, new locations, different hours, all these kinds of things, you're destroying your track record of data that you have in the business, and it's going to be really hard for you to really compound and make progress long term. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one.